1. She ties her shoes. She makes a space between her legs for tension to arise, as it does with a school bus waiting. Her pigtails swing against cheeks with a face bowed down and breathing close and moist between two rounded knees. How smooth the skin of a little girl. How the sweetness of thrill rises within her cunt, captures her. How she knows the treasure is hers alone in a moment of rush, and the squeak of soles, a slide press against linoleum, and a murmur of who else knows? 2. But let us go back ever further, a pristine presence of tender hands inside a wish, inside the weave of the edges of a bassinet, to slip through each lacy whim with fingers a touch too much. Threads jam at the web of index, middle ring, pinky push full, press harder, more bluntly, place a mouth open and wet. Labial beginnings begin at the mouth. To open her mouth is to part her infant thighs, a butterfly of sorts, filling with known blood all the underlying capillaries of the longed for. 3. Begin once more at the center, inside the chest. How she aches and cannot explain why, or how best to ease the unfilled, the reach. How many times can a child lift her arms to the gulf? To be lifted or be left, fingers fondle in place of, in presence of, adults who find her frolics charming. The skin does throb for a fingertip, plumps itself in a way which presents it forth into the atmosphere. The need of it sets loose all manner of flailing, a biological lottery of limbs athrash, hoping to hit the sweetest spot where caress becomes her mooring, and she can stand up now to walk into the fullness. 4. She is licking the palms of her hands, wide flat spread of a warm tongue. Wider the tongue goes, the hands go, slick in the spread between, though not fast enough to outwet the atmosphere. How she aches for a damp comfort, begs, with overlicked palms stretched before the uncomprehending. Please, oh please, tell me what it is that I do not know. Take my hands from me, cut them at the wrists, for I do not want their thirst, nor this prolonged and bitter burning rising from my clench. 5. Follow her now up the driveway in summer, in terry shorts and tube top, feet bare and running her sister's blue 10-speed to leap upon at the crest, where an open road promises. Promises what? She cannot say how insistent the pull, how far she will go. Brown and bare shoulders know the taste of eyes upon a curve, and how they follow the feeling down, the length of an arm, over the turn of a hip, across and back and across two thighs, needing a thick wind for its wide, blunt strokes. How stunning the pleasure of the nymphette as she rides and pedals out upon a chosen road to collect every blunt glance of a penile bent. 6. Her paper gown does not wrap in the way her lank body demands other arms to wrap. It barely touches the fleece of her thickening pubic hair and stands out and away from the dear sweet pinks of her nipples, making them rise erect in the drafts which move through overlong paper slits at the arms. Hop up. Place your bottom here, dear. That's it. And now slide it down to the edge. Feet in the stirrups, sweetie. Yes, that's it. And they are cold, and her feet are bare. Heat comes in a rush from silver lamps at her knees. How rough and bruised are the knees of a not-so-little girl. Let your legs fall open, honey. And oh, the honey of the moment of a hand not her own, moving swiftly inside. How without apology or question of circumstance her moan escapes her ripe mouth, rounding a response. Euphoria's beginnings begin at the mouth, even as the mound of a heart or a clit rises to fresh wonders of the most austere. 7. Somehow she turns at the doorway in sunlight in winter, and there he is. The simple way her face opens is the way it will always open for the rest of her life when she gazes out from inside her heart, which is impossible to latch closed. When he leaves her the first time, how spun out she gets is in direct proportion with the weighty pressure he had thrust upon her hips and mouth and the center of her belly as it had relaxed out. 8. There are few occurrences which demand we lose ourselves. To be more precise, there are at least 3: birth and death and sex. To lose herself. But her skin speaks when she turns her inner wrists out to reaching hands. Messages play behind her eyes, so she closes them, interprets, and opens them again to the face just beyond her own. She is not losing anything. She is coming into her skin with a fullness not known before this cascade of heat and breath, and oh, how she moves so freely inside the wish. To measure out each urge after is to stack hunger upon crave upon lust. It is a dream to believe we keep what we love inside our chests. 9. Now she is running bare-legged through a field, calves cut by razor grass. Now she is falling into a roundly crushed patch, and her arms break widely away from the center of this nest. Must she deny the story of her want? Must she close these arms, these legs upon a solitude of loss? Her wild clutch of lengthened limbs is scooped and gathered and carried from field to aisle, her tender feet making the march of no sound. How devoted the shoulders of the woman pledged and plucked by hounds.